Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me now. Now.
Thanks. And the library?
This press conference is just starting now. We have official speaking. Let's listen in. The officials, as normal, are getting ready, making sure all the different local, state, and federal officials are ready. I see Catherine Barger, the supervisor, Sheriff Alex Villanueva, and
How we doing? Got a sound check? We okay? Ready to go here? Thank you for your patience. We appreciate it. Good morning. I'm Sergeant Benjamin Grubb with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department's Sheriff Information Bureau. I thank you all for coming here today. I want to get right into it regarding this incident in Santa Clarita, specifically Saugus High School. Without further ado, Sheriff Alex Villanueva and Sheriff's Homicide Captain Kent Wegener, W-E-G-N-E-G-N-E-R.
I regret to inform it's a sad day in Saugus, it's a sad day in Los Angeles County and the nation for another tragic shooting at a school. At 7:38 this morning, Santa Clarita Sheriff Station received a 911 call of a shooting at Saugus High School. Within seconds, we received multiple calls, and within 2 minutes, at 7:40, our first units arrived on scene and encountered in the quad area of the school multiple victims, gunshot wounds. There were a total of 6 victims who were promptly triaged and transported to the local hospitals for treatment. Among those who were transported, it turned out to be the suspect, who is currently in the hospital in grave condition, and he's a male, Asian, 16 years of age, and a student of the school. The other 5 students, I'll have Captain Wegner provide their demographics. The school was locked down. They did partial evacuation. We also sheltered in place a portion of the school until we established who was responsible for this tragic shooting. The surrounding schools in the area were also placed on lockdown as a precaution. We did identified who the shooter was through firsthand witnesses, video surveillance. We confirmed it. We then executed a search warrant at the residence of the suspect, and now we're going through the very lengthy process of conducting a thorough investigation to figure out what happened and why. At the same time, we're busy now doing the reunification with students with their parents, and all of the affected students have been notified, their families have been notified, and they're with them currently. So now I'm going to turn this over to Captain Wegner.
Thank you, Sheriff. My name is Captain Kent Wegener, W-E-G-E-N-E-R. I'm the captain of Sheriff's Homicide Bureau. This morning at 7:38, Santa Clarita Station received a call of a 245 just occurred, an assault with a deadly weapon, a shooting that had just occurred at 21900 Centurion Way in Santa Clarita at Saugus High School. Upon arrival within 2 minutes, Santa Clarita deputies recognized that it was an active shooter situation and conducted a rapid deployment onto the school premises. When they reached the quad area, they discovered 6 persons who were suffering from gunshot wounds. These were all students of the high school. All the students were triaged and transported to a local hospital. The suspect was later identified as one of the victims who was found in the quad. He is identified as a 16-year-old male whose birthday is today. The weapon that he used was recovered at the scene. It's a .45 caliber semi-automatic pistol, which had no more rounds in it, had no more bullets in it. He is a resident in the 22900 block of Sycamore Creek Drive in Santa Clarita. That location was contained by sheriff's deputies, and a cursory search was done to identify any other potential victims which may be at the location. there were none there. It is now being contained. A search warrant is being written, and it will be conducted to process that scene for evidence. We are in the process of interviewing students who were witnesses to this incident. Some of those students are being taken are still at the high school in a multi-purpose room, and other students are at Grace Baptist Church, where they will be interviewed by sheriff's homicide detectives. Additionally, we have scenes at the quad at the school to process the crime scene there, a team at the suspect's house, a team at two different local hospitals. And we have another team that's working with our tech crew to process any video which we may be able to get from the surveillance system at the high school. The FBI is here, and they are collaborating with us to preserve and capture any cell phone video which the students may have captured of this incident at the time that it happened. The suspect's girlfriend and his mother are at Santa Clarita Station with detectives currently. Detectives have reviewed the video at the scene, which clearly show the subject in the quad withdraw a handgun from his backpack, shoot and wound 5 people, and then shoot himself in the head. There are no other subjects who are outstanding as part of this incident or who took part in this assault. The victims who are hospitalized, and I regret to say that at 9:23 this morning, one of the female victims, age 16, passed away. Her parents are at the hospital. There's another female victim, age 14, another female victim, age 15, and 2 male victims, each 14 years of age. Again, this is preliminary information. I know there are rumors out there about social media posts and different videos that may have been posted from the scene. We will be looking into that. At this point, I don't have any information about that. I can tell you that we have checked for recent threats involving Saugus High School. We identified 2, which were both investigated and had no nexus to this subject. At this point, thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce Los Angeles County Fire Department Chief Darrell Osby.
Hello, Darrell Osby, Fire Chief of the Los Angeles County Fire Department. And as mentioned today, the Saugus incident, this is a pretty sobering incident for those involved, including first responders. On behalf of the Los Angeles County Fire Department, our sympathies and prayers and positive spirits go out to everyone that was affected. As mentioned previously, along with the Sheriff's Department, the Los Angeles County Fire Department got a call at 7:38 this morning for a shooting at Saugus High School. Our resources arrived on scene with the sheriff's already on scene. We trained routinely with the Sheriff's Department for these types of incidents. Our personnel went in with force protection, which means protection from the sheriffs to go in and assess the scene. At the height of the incident, the Los Angeles County Fire Department had 10 fire engines, 7 paramedic squads, 24 ambulances, 1 helicopter, and appropriate overhead on scene. Our objectives during these types of incidents is life safety intervention, triage, treatment, and transportation to the hospital. As mentioned earlier, there were a total of 6 victims that were inflicted by gunshot. They were considered critical on scene. The most critical, unfortunately, one was a headshot to the head, and the other was a cardiac full arrest. 4 victims were transported to Henry Mayo Hospital. 2 other critical were transported to Holy Cross Hospital, and then we had a non-critical that was transported to Olive for a total of 7 incidents. As we conclude this incident, from the fire department's perspective, working with the sheriffs and investigators, also there were several members of my department, and this is a very close-knit community that had kids that were also at the school. And some of those members have already been relieved to get the proper peer support and mental support on behalf of the department and on behalf of the County of Los Angeles. So our department will continue to support our personnel with appropriate mental, spiritual, and behavioral support along with their families, and we will keep everyone else involved in our deepest thoughts.
Now from the Los Angeles Field Office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Assistant Director in Charge, Paul Delacourt.
Good morning, I'm Paul Delacourt, the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles Field Office. We are once again here in front of you with another somber and sobering press statement. We're talking about something that no parents should ever have to go through, no high school student should ever have to worry about, and yet we're here to talk about it again. The FBI rolled crisis response resources. We are here in support of the LA County Sheriff's Department. At this time, we are collaborating on victim and witness interviews and digital media exploitation. We have begun a social media scrub. We have our evidence response team and our victim witness services teams on standby, ready to assist. We have resources available from Cyber Division and our Laboratory Division, if necessary, to assist the LA County Sheriff's Department in this investigation. I can report to you that at this time we have no known additional threats. We have no threats to this or any other school, or no threats to this or any other area. We're here at this point is a police cooperation matter. We will run all the leads to ground, but at this point we have no indication of any motivation or ideology. It's early on in this investigation. I'm pleased with the collaboration with our partners, proud of our response and our collaboration with our partners. But once again, it's sad that we have had to bring those resources to bear in another situation like this. Thank you.
Next, Los Angeles County Supervisor Catherine Barger.
I first want to thank LA County Sheriff's Department, who responded within 2 minutes of the call that came in regarding this horrific act. We have Department of Mental Health has support teams on site right now, working with the students as well as the family members. As you can imagine, the impact this is going to have not only on the school but on this community is tremendous. And the Department of Mental Health stands ready to support the community in an entirety. I want to thank Assemblymember Christy Smith for being here. We've got the state, federal, and local officials all here working together. Many people are asking why. That will come with time, but right now our focus is on supporting the community. And you heard Chief Osby say that many of the sheriffs and fire officials that work here live here and either have children that attend the school or attend the school. So this is hit very, very, very close to home. My heart aches, but I stand ready to support this community and lead and make sure that we provide the resources necessary to help. Thank you.
Next, we have Assemblymember Christy Smith.
Thank you. It's a very tragic day for our communities, and I stand with Supervisor Barger in thanking our first responders, the law enforcement community with Sheriff's Department, our fire department for their immediate response and preventing further loss of life in this matter. I also stand with the county, the city, our school district allies in saying the state will bring all necessary resources to bear as we help the victims of this senseless tragedy to recover, as we help our community to recover, as hopefully we learn something from this tragedy about how we move on and hopefully prevent future tragedies like this. But we appreciate your cooperation and your sensitivity to what our community is going through right now. We are very close-knit. We will come together and we will survive. We just can't afford another tragic day like this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Santa Clarita Mayor Marsha McLean.
Thank you. We may be the third largest city in LA County, but we are a close-knit, family-oriented community, and our family sticks together. I have a granddaughter who was at Saugus High School this morning, and when I heard about it, the feeling that went over me was indescribable. So I felt the same thing that our families are feeling about their kids here in the community. And I just want to say that we, as a city, are going to be working with all agencies together to try and get through this terrible, terrible experience, including making our activities center available for this evening between 5 and 7. The school district will tell you more about that. I just want every single family member to know that we are with you, our heart is with you, and that's all I can say as to this horrible thing. There's no words to describe it. Thank you.
From Hart School District, Colin Nielsen.
Thank you. I'd like to first thank our first responders and the City of Santa Clarita for their tremendous response this morning. First and foremost, our hearts go out to the families of those affected by this terrible incident. Words are insufficient in times such as these. Nevertheless, we want to give you the facts that we have available to us at this moment regarding the incident at Saugus High School this morning. There was a shooting at Saugus High School before the start of classes. Law enforcement responded immediately and came on campus to address the situation with a massive presence. Several students have been transported, as you've heard, to local hospitals. All schools in the Hart District were initially placed on lockdown as a precaution to deal with and to allow law enforcement to deal with the situation. At this point, all schools had been removed from lockdown. Once the scene was declared safe by law enforcement, Saugus students were transported to Central Park via city and district buses to be reunited with their families. We are currently in the process of formulating a plan to care for our school and our community, and will continue sharing updates as we learn more, including for the plan for the days ahead. Tonight at the Santa Clarita Activity Center from 5 to 7 p.m., we'll have grief counselors and mental health professionals available for our community. We will continue to work together with law enforcement, the City of Santa Clarita, and our community partners. We encourage the Hart District family to check with our website for regular updates. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to do one more speaker, and then we're going to do Spanish. Santa Clarita Sheriff Station Captain Carlos.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming to get the message out to the community. My name is Robert Lewis, and I am the captain for Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station. This is a tough day for Santa Clarita. I've been a 52-year resident of Santa Clarita, and I grew up in the Saugus area. Santa Clarita is a very, very strong community, and I appreciate everyone surrounding themselves around us this morning and helping as much as possible from the community. We are working through this event over the course of the next few hours and the course of the next few days. Currently, we have a reunification center here at Central Park. We want to make sure that everyone knew that that was the reunification center for all parents and children who went to Saugus High School. As well as I want to make sure that the community is aware that we, as Captain Wegener had spoken, we have several people that witnessed this, and we are going to be talking to them, and we've been in contact with them and their parents to make sure that they know that they are safe. So we're getting the communication out to the public as quickly as possible and getting the information out to everyone and all the residents. As we move forward over the course of the next few days, I'd like to look at every single camera's eye and look at every eye of every resident of Santa Clarita and the surrounding area and everyone who helps us. Santa Clarita is a very, very, very strong community. I ask the parents and I ask everybody in the community, in the days ahead and in the years ahead, the main thing we need to do is wrap our arms around each other, make sure we keep in contact with our kids, with each other, in our relationships, in our families, so we know what our family members are going through, so we know what's happening in everyone's lives. As a strong community between Santa Clarita and the unincorporated area, 294,000 residents, we all 294,000 residents need to gather around this incident. Tragic, and tragedy struck. But how do we come out of tragedy? We come out of it by surrounding each other, holding hands, saying prayers, and spending time together to see what's going on, see what's happening. And then my last thing is we need to say no more. As the FBI special agent said, this is a tragic event. It happens too frequently. And across the nation, I hear frequently, no more, no more, no more. When are we going to come together as a community, Santa Clarita, and the rest of the communities, to say no more? It really has to be put out there through you, the media, to get that information out. But thank you very much for being here. We'll be taking some questions in a few minutes, and I think we have one more speaker. We're going to have one more speaker that's going to come up from Henry Mayoral Hospital, Patrick Moody. All right. Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it.
Okay, now the sheriff is going to do a Spanish interview with the assistance of homicide Captain Kent Wegener.
A las 7:38 de esta mañana recibimos una llamada de emergencia en la estación de Santa Clarita del Alguacil, y esa llamada indicó que había una balacera, un tiroteo en la escuela de Saugus High School. 2 minutos después, los alguaciles llegaron a la escuela superior y encontraron 6 víctimas que habrían sufrido heridas de balas. Y ellos lograron, con ayuda de los bomberos, rescataron a los 6, los transportaron a los hospitales locales, y resulta que uno de los 6 víctimas era el sospechoso de la balacera. Después pudieron revisar toda la evidencia en video y encontraron evidencia de que sí, el estudiante fue el culpable de la balacera, y él en este momento está siendo tratado por sus heridas. Él sufrió una herida en la cabeza que fue infligida por él mismo, un intento de suicidio. Los otros 5 víctimas son 3 niñas, 2 niños de edades entre 14 y 16 años. Desafortunadamente, a las 9:23 de esta mañana, la niña de 16 años sí falleció por heridas que recibió en la escuela. Sus padres están con ella en ese momento, y pues extendemos todo nuestro cariño y el amor que podemos darle a esta familia en su momento de tragedia, y a todos los que fueron involucrados en este asunto. Y
Jefe, ¿nos podrá decir cuáles son las medidas que van a tomar las autoridades para evitar una tragedia como esta en el condado de Arizona?
Las medidas que sí estamos tomando en este momento, que siempre estamos alerta a cualquier amenaza, ya sea por las redes sociales, amenazas dirigidas por carta, o un testigo que puede identificar a alguien que está haciendo una amenaza seria. Lo tomamos toda la información en serio, y entonces estamos revisando cada amenaza para averiguar tan de serio sea la amenaza. Y entonces hemos podido prevenir varios tiroteos en las escuelas por la advertencia de que hay una amenaza.
Hay comentarios de que este chico supuestamente en las redes sociales hizo un comentario amenazando a este plantel educativo. ¿Qué medidas o cómo reaccionó la autoridad?
Esa información la estamos desarrollando en este mismo momento, y no tenemos información para confirmar eso.
¿Qué tipo de arma fue en español?
El tipo de arma fue una calibre 45 semiautomática, y la evidencia de video demuestra que él sacó el revólver o la pistola de su backpack, y entonces inmediatamente disparó a los 5, y después se disparó él mismo en la cabeza.
Sheriff, is there any indication at this point that the shooter may have been targeting his victims?
That information, we're going to develop it as the process of the investigation goes through. We have a lot of witnesses to go through, a lot of evidence to sort through, and we'll develop that, but we're grateful that our homicide detectives are working on it. We have the collaboration of the FBI, the ATF, and so it's going to be a lengthy process, but we're going to be able to determine it.
One point of clarity, the captain mentioned that you was able to watch this on video. Was that surveillance video that you saw this on? Surveillance cameras?
The investigators looked at the surveillance video from the school.
From the school.
Not cell phone video.
Okay.
It's an established
So-
video system, and they watched it.
Yeah, we got the whole thing.
Number of minutes from the 6.
You know, I can't comment on that.
I do want to update one thing. We just received word that one of the 14-year-old victims at the hospital has also passed away just moments ago. So our fatalities now were 2. So with heavy heart, we're going to move forward with the investigation, figure out what went wrong, And I hate to have Saugus be added to the names of Columbine, Parkland, Sandy Hook, but it's a reality that affects us all throughout the nation, something we're going to have to deal with. And as Captain Lewis said, we got to figure out what are we doing wrong and how can we stop this from happening in the future. So we'll figure that out over time.
Is that one? Can you just clarify the number of one? Can you just clarify the overall number of people who were struck by gunfire?
We have 6 struck by gunfire, and that includes the suspect.
Somebody said there was 7th person who was transported. I believe it's a girl.
That was a non-critical, non-shot victim.
Not a gunshot.
Not a gunshot.
I interviewed a girl who was in a choir class who said there was a girl who was in huddle with her sheltering for about 20 minutes. Herself was shot. Discovered she was shot, and she was taken out, I guess, when the police first arrived. So I wonder if she may have gone to the hospital later or something.
Should probably be one of those 6, but we'll sort through all of that as time goes on. No, it's a male student. That we're still working to develop that. Okay.
Is there any evidence of bullying that might have been?
We're way too early in the investigation to be able to figure that out, but we'll be able to get to that. Sir?
Yes, sir. There's a report that there were many off-duty deputies that have children at school that were also able to be among the first responders. Do you know if that's true?
Yes, as the fire chief said, this school, a lot of our local, from our department, from the fire department, from other police departments, this area has an awful lot of law enforcement presence there, so it would not surprise me if they were available and did respond.
Sheriff, did you see that video by any chance?
No, I have not seen it personally.
Okay.
Can you clarify whether the suspect was one of those critically injured or whether he has also passed away? Can you clarify that?
He's one of the ones, he shot himself in the head, so he's in grave condition. He is not one of the ones that has passed away.
And Sheriff, can you just clarify as well, because we couldn't quite hear, are you saying that another male
Yes.
has passed away, a 16-year-old?
Yeah, it was a 16-year-old female and a 14-year-old male.
And what do we know about the condition of the other students who were?
The information we have is that they're not in critical condition. The ones that were in critical are the ones that have passed away. And outside of the suspect himself, the other ones, I won't comment any further. I'll leave that up to a representative from the hospital.
And from Henry Mayo Hospital, Public Information Officer Patrick Moody, M-O-O-D-Y.
So I'll be brief. I'm sorry to be here today. About 80% of our employees live in the Santa Clarita Valley, so we are touched by this. Our hearts go out to the victims and their families. We trained for this year-round. We hoped the day would never come, and today it came. We were prepared. We immediately called the code triage, and we were prepared to receive patients. We had 4 patients at the hospital. 2 are deceased. 1 is in critical condition, and 1 is in good condition. The question that you're all going to ask me is the suspect at Henry Mayo? It's a question I can't answer. I'm going to defer that question to the Sheriff's Department. Thank you very much.
Any comment on that?
Okay, without further ado, that's going to be it for this evening's press conference. There will be updates put out later. Please follow social media and Los Angeles County Sheriff Department's Facebook and internet pages. We'll try to get any updated information out as soon as we can. Thank you.